All right, welcome in. We are live this beautiful Thursday evening. Um, NFL season is officially here. We are just 3 hours away from kickoff. Feels like it's been a long wait, but we are ready to get the action started tonight. So thank you all for tuning in. We're going to talk tonight about the DraftKings Showdown slate and the FanDuel single game slate. Oh, let me turn those notifications off. Sorry about that. All right. So, for those of you who are not aware, um, Showdown slate and single game slate, basically the same thing on DraftKings and FanDuel now. They used to be a little different. This year, they're going to be very much the same format. You draft just for the single game. We have 6 roster spots that we will need to fill. One MVP who will get 1.5x his points, but there will also be a salary. His salary is multiplied as well. And then you have 5 flex positions, and those flex you can play. Even in the MVP, you can play any quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, kicker, defense. So yeah. So what we're going to do tonight is we're just going to go through the player pool, I think, and find out sort of who we will want to include in our lineups. Some of us build 150, 200, 300 lineups for this contest tonight. Some of us just hand build one. So we're going to kind of go through and discuss it from the perspective of, look, I'm looking to build, multiple lineups. I need a player pool for those lineups. And then we will at the end build a DraftKings lineup here and a FanDuel lineup. So we won't take too much time. I know it's dinner time. I know we've got a couple hours before lock, so we'll try to breeze through this pretty quick. It's just me tonight, so we should be able to. Also, if you have any comments, please post them down here. I will try to answer them as we go. I'm not too busy, so I think we should be able to get to all of them. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do here is we're going to go ahead and bring up, we'll bring up this page here. And this is the our sheets that are available to everybody with the link. I'll include the link in the show description later. It's too late now. And also, if you check us out on Fantasy Rant HQ or even just Google my name at Stadium Rant, and you'll pull up an article and I'll have it linked in there. So let's see. We'll start at quarterback. Okay. So yeah, anyway, like I was saying, this is our impact index. If you scroll all the way over to the right here, you will see DK impact, FanDuel impact. This is just a score that we've assigned to the player to sort of give us an idea of what rating of a play they are tonight. This is based on some data like, for instance, quarterback. We like to see a home quarterback who's a favorite, efficient, has got a high QBR, a high game total, high team total, tight spreads, all that. It's all weighted. I don't want to get into it. Can't really get into it. It's all weighted in its own way, and then we assign a score to it. So With all that said, let's go ahead and dig on in here. We'll start at the quarterback position for DK and FanDuel. I think both of these guys are um, absolutely viable. I think Jalen Hurts is probably going to be the most popular um, MVP, probably on FanDuel. And I'm looking at ownership percentages here. It looks like he's going to be the most popular on DraftKings as well. So obviously, Jalen Hurts is in play. I think the floor for Hurts is a little higher than Saquon Barkley tonight. That's the argument for him in the MVP or captain spot. I think he's a cash game lock if you're playing in cash formats. Um, when we'll get into the FanDuel stuff here in a moment, I like Saquon a little better over there as a MVP, but I think they're pretty close on DK. And so I think Jalen Hurts will probably be a popular captain. Dak Prescott, obviously in play. I haven't. Let me take a look at the ownership here. He's going to be popular too. So quarterbacks usually are popular, especially on DK, especially on FanDuel, but on DK as well for those captain and MVP spots. Both of them in play, I think. Obviously, Saquon Barkley. You didn't tune in to hear me to tell you Saquon Barkley is a good play, but he is. And I wrote this up on X earlier on the Stadium Rant X. But what we've found from last year is that when Saquon scores a touchdown, he's almost guaranteed to be the Eagles' top scorer on the slate. Uh, on the Eagles team, not the whole slate. The Eagles. So if that holds true tonight and he scores, he's probably in the nuts in the optimal lineup. He's probably the MVP or the captain. If he doesn't score, then it's probably Jalen Hurts has vultured him at the end zone. Uh, and Jalen Hurts is probably the captain or the MVP. So the Eagles, it's not that difficult to figure out between. We got to land, on the right one here. So if I'm making lineups, I would build pretty heavily. I'm going to build pretty heavily with Saquon and Jalen Hurts as my captains and MVPs on FanDuel. Javante Williams, I don't think he's in the captain discussion or the maybe in the MVP discussion on FanDuel. I'm looking at his ownership here. That's actually pretty high. Yeah, I mean, he's good. We like him. He's the primary running back tonight for the Cowboys. They're going to have to do something to slow the Eagles down, I think. So we'll probably see a healthy dose of Javante Williams. I don't know if I like him as a captain tonight, but he is certainly in play as a flex. Miles Sanders, yeah, I mean, probably including him, not as a captain. He's going to be in our flex. I'm probably stopping my uh, running back exposure here, maybe around AJ Dillon. Might have a couple shots with Will Shipley in there. But I think that for the running backs, we're going to want Barkley. We're going to want Williams, Sanders, Jaden Blue. Yeah, we'll keep those four in our player pool. I don't know if Sanders or Blue would make my hand built lineup. They're certainly in the player pool for if we're building multiple lineups. We go over here to wide receiver now. Obviously, Ceedee Lamb. Again, I think that without Micah Parsons now, this team is going to have to move the football. They're going the Cowboys are going to lean heavily on their offense. Ceedee Lamb, I think, yes, there's some volume being soaked up by George Pickens now, but as far as I'm concerned, his upside's higher than it was last year. And Dak's back. Now you got Pickens to take some of those defenders away. I think that Um, that Ceedee Lamb is a great play tonight. He's a borderline captain on DraftKings. I probably what's interesting about FanDuel, and we'll look at pricing when we pull it up in a minute, but he's cheap over there. Don't pay attention to these salaries. These are not the showdown salaries. You'll don't even look at those. We'll see the showdown salaries in a little bit. I don't have a sheet built for that. This is mostly just to sort of kind of give you an idea of their stats. Um, anyway, yeah, CeeDee Lamb, I think on FanDuel, he will be somebody that will be kind of low owned in the MVP spot. Uh, but with the new scoring over there, we might be able to make some pretty interesting lineups with him as the MVP. So, something to think about. Obviously, AJ Brown's going to be in our player pool. Devontae Smith, George Pickens, Cavante Turpin. Uh, Probably going to, if I'm not too interested in Darius Cooper, Flournoy, uh, really not too interested in Mechie. I don't see Jalen Brooks on this list for some reason. I might have not pasted him in, but uh, he's viable maybe. Um, yeah, I think that's where I'm sort of stopping. Jahan Dotson is probably as far as I'm willing to go at wide receiver. Yeah. So I think if you're building multiple lineups, obviously Lamb, Brown, Smith, Pickens, Turpin, Tolbert, uh, Dotson is right there on the fringe for me. After that, I don't really think I'm gonna have any lineups with Mechie, Cooper, or Flournoy in there. Let me look at the tight ends. Goddard, obviously, in play. Ferguson, Schoonemacher, and Calcaterra. Probably stopping there. I don't have much interest in Granson or yeah, I'm just probably stopping at Calcaterra. I think that Span Ford, let's look, he's not even getting any ownership. Tight end three. He's a big body in the red zone, so I guess we could consider Granson if you're building a lot of lineups. But if we're building 20 or less, I'm just stopping probably at Schoonemaker. Yeah. All right. So we will stop sharing the screen here and I'm going to pull up, I guess we'll build for DraftKings first. We'll start over there. Yep. This is our Thursday night knife fight. This is the one Hardy hosts every night. So let's get in here real quick. Yeah, you can see that. Okay. All right. So we'll get out of that. The big question is what to do with our captain. You can see here pricing between Barkley and Hertz. I mean, they're tight on DraftKings. So it does make it a little more difficult to decide. For me, I think in the format I'm building here, we only have like a 20-man contest here. So we don't have to get too silly. Um, I think that I like Jalen Hurts. He feels safe. So we'll go ahead and start there. And you can see if you're building along with us over here. Uh, I don't know if you can see my cursor. Average remaining salary per player. We got 6,700 per spot. So what we want to do, we got Jalen Hurts. Do we need to run him with one of his pass catchers? He can get there on his own. And if Jalen Hurts putting up a winning score tonight doesn't necessarily have to bring anybody with them. I think a lot of people will try to probably pair him with Devontae Smith or AJ Brown. It's just going to be very expensive to do. I'm thinking more along the lines of Dallas Goddard, mm, or maybe one of his. Let's just look at his wide receivers real quick. Yeah, we could maybe play Dotson. Let's see if he's getting any ownership tonight. Jahan Dotson. Scrolling, looking for ownership. I don't really see 6.5%. Um, Look, he's wide receiver 3, so he's viable, but I think I'm gonna stay away from there. Um, I One way we can get some pretty easy salary relief here is by playing Jake Elliott. I think that makes sense. I think that we're going to see a lot of scoring tonight, and I think you know Elliott will help us get there and bring us a little salary relief. They don't. The only thing is these guys don't settle for field goals a lot. I mean, this is the tush push crowd. They just don't. But he's got a foot. So let's put him in there and see what it does. Okay. So we got 7,200 per position now. If we're settling for field goals, then we perhaps don't necessarily think it's going to be a high scoring affair back and forth. I kind of want to get Dak Prescott in this lineup. We're close. Um, Maybe now let's see what it looks like with let's build with Dallas Goddard here. So that leaves us 7,500. Okay. Javante Williams, here's a guy that he's going to get a lot of touches. He's going to get chances in the red zone. I think for the RB1, he's really underpriced. Let's see what kind of ownership he's getting. The only thing that scares me off with Javante Williams is the Cowboys are, last I checked, they're like 8-point underdogs. But man, he's a 3 down back. He can catch the football, he can run the football. Let's throw him in. All right, so now we can go. We could play Devontae Smith. The problem is, I just feel like that's too many Eagles pass catchers. Yeah, let's go George Pickens, and then we'll go Dak Prescott. All right, so let's look at this lineup. I think your showdown lineup should always tell a story. Okay, um, we've got Jalen Hurts and Dallas Goddard, one of his pass catchers. This and Jake Elliott. So I guess what we're saying there is we're going to get a lot of Jalen Hurts. We're going to get a lot of scores, and we're going to get Jake Elliott's going to be there to kick extra points, and hopefully we get a 50-yarder or a 45 or 50-yarder thrown in there too. And then on the other side, we've kind of got a Cowboys team stack here with Prescott and Williams and Pickens. It's tough lineup to build tonight because all the pieces are so expensive, and the Cowboys are 8-point dogs. So I think maybe one thing we could do is we could maybe not play Javante Williams, and maybe we could see if we could get another Dallas pass catcher in here for 5,700. I mean, you got Jake Ferguson there, 5,700, 5,200, excuse me. If we did that, let's see. Will that let us move up from Goddard at all? Nah, we're still sitting there with Goddard. But I like this. I like this. We got both quarterbacks. We got two good pass catchers, three good pass catchers, and we got a leg. So I think this is solid for DraftKings. It's it's sort of a safe floor type of lineup, which this isn't going to win uh, in a 10,000 man room probably, but in a 20-man room, we got a shot with that. So yeah, I like that. So let's go ahead and send it. All right, so that'll do us on DK. I like that. Go ahead and stop sharing that screen. And we'll go to FanDuel. Okay. All right, so this I'm running 100 lineups in this contest tonight, but we'll just build one of them. All right, so got a little more salary on FanDuel to work with, but you'll see that the um, the pricing's different. So the first thing we notice right off the bat here is, and I like this. I know you're going to look at Saquon Barkley and you're going to say, man, he's $2,700 more expensive than Jalen Hurts. I think that's going to keep everybody off of Saquon. We built our DraftKings lineup with Jalen Hurts as the anchor. So let's try to see what we can do with Saquon Barkley as our MVP. Now, this is going to be tough because we're not going to have a lot of cash after this, but start him off as the MVP. And now we have $7,680 per player remaining. That doesn't buy a whole lot. So, one thing I like to do right away is try to find some salary relief here. So, the Eagles are 8-point favorites. The script doesn't set up great for the Cowboys running game. So, I kind of want to stay away from Javante Williams. I kind of want to stay away from Brandon Aubrey. Yeah, I because look, the guy's a stud. He can hit from almost anywhere on the field. Problem is, I don't know that the Cowboys can afford to kick field goals tonight. They're going to need to push it. So here, Jake Elliott makes sense with this build. So let's throw him in there and kind of see where we are. So now we can move up to 8,000 per player. Now we have a little more availability here. I don't want to play the Eagles defense tonight. Let's see what kind of ownership they're getting. Bear with me here. Yeah, yeah, they're kind of high owned, and at 22%. I think that with Dak healthy, this offense looks a lot better. The outlook's a lot better than it was last year. So I think that we probably have. It's okay to fade this defense. So we're gonna do that. Let's see. Is there anything cheaper we can grab down here? I think Jake Ferguson is the kind of guy who, let's see what kind of defense he's getting. He's a favorite target of Dak. I think once we get down to the red zone, I know Dak's got new toys, George Pickens, Javante Williams, but this has been a comfort a security blanket for him for a long time. Let's throw Ferguson in here, okay? All right. So now we got 9,200. Now we can start looking at the Devontae Smiths and the George Pickens. If we're playing this with the Eagles holding a big lead over the Cowboys, we're gonna want some. We're gonna want Prescott +2 probably. So let's go Dak Prescott, and then let's go George Pickens, and let's see. That leaves us 8,400. That puts us in this range. Goddard, Javonte Williams, Brandon Aubrey. Well, you really limit yourself when you spend 21.6 at the MVP spot. I think it's probably between Goddard and the Eagles, and I'm not sure that I want to. We'll roll with the Eagles here. Yeah, we'll do that. So obviously, we're kind of playing here. The Eagles nurse a big lead. They start putting some pressure on Dak, looking for turnovers. Maybe pick six will be huge in this lineup too. So, yeah, man, I like that. I think that's a good lineup. I really do. Actually, we're gonna leave that one just the way it is. Barkley is the MVP. Eagles defense putting pressure on Dak. Jake Elliott kicking field goals to give a little extra um, cushion, and then Dak, Ferguson, and Pickens doing everything they can to get back in the game or stay in the game. Yeah, I like this. Your lineup should tell a story. I like that. So I'm going to save that. Very cool. All right, so that's basically two lineups for y'all, and I don't see any questions, so I guess everybody gets it pretty easily. If you've never played FanDuel before, if you've never played a single game contest before, I would recommend FanDuel. Um, the competition feels a little softer over there. DK's got a wider variety of contests and better payouts, but FanDuel can be a little more user friendly in the beginning. So I'm gonna stop sharing here. Yeah, so that's kind of it. We just want to big decisions tonight. Do we play Jalen Hurts? Do we play Saquon Barkley as our MVP or captain? Um, like I mentioned, I think that the difference between them on DK is not a lot, especially in price. Um, if Saquon scores, he's probably the leading scorer, leading fantasy scorer for the Eagles. Um, if he doesn't score, it's probably Jalen Hurts. AJ Brown can have these peak, these random ceiling games, but this just isn't an offense that is really tailored to having him sustain that kind of level of play week in and week out. So it's hard to predict. But if you're building for 200 lineups, I would say have at least a handful with AJ Brown as your captain or MVP as well. Maybe not MVP, but captain. Um, Javonte Williams, I like him. I think the Cowboys are going to like him. I think he's going to be a great addition. I just don't know tonight against his defense how that plays out. We got him in our DK lineup. We faded him on FanDuel. Let's just, we'll know more after tonight what kind of piece he's going to be on this offense. But um, and and Jaden Blue can probably be in your player pool as well. So yeah, I think that the general game script here tonight, the Cowboys are playing from behind, and they're just forced to try to score every possession. I don't know that they can settle for field goals. I think they're going to have to really push the football down the field. I do think they keep it closer than 8 points, though. I think Vegas is everybody's sort of underselling Dak Prescott and the Cowboys this year. I think that he's sitting on a monster fantasy season. So definitely don't sleep on him. And now's your buy low chance. So there's not going to be a lot of people willing to play him tonight. So matter of fact, let's take a look. In the captain on DK, his ownership's a little high. No, it's not. 8%. FanDuel would be higher, but yeah, I don't know if he's a good captain play on DraftKings, but certainly in the conversation. So I think that'll about wrap it up for us tonight. Let's go watch some football. We got 2 hours roughly before we get some pregame coverage. So excited. Don't forget to tune in Saturday. Saturday evening, Sunday morning, depending on how quick we can get it uploaded. We will be breaking down the Sunday slate. Hardy and myself will be. Keep an eye on our Fantasy Rant Instagram page. Keep an eye on our Twitter. Keep an eye on all of it because we're going to be posting lots of uh, Thursday night props, Friday night props, Sunday night props, Monday night props, Sunday day props. Um, we'll have an official Impact Index ranking coming out probably tomorrow. And look for my article breaking down the slate. That should be out by Saturday morning, hopefully tomorrow afternoon. So that said, hope to see y'all at the top of the leaderboards tonight. And have a good one.